Medvedev threatens to strike court in The Hague with Oniks hypersonic missile.
Here's a summary of the article.
Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, has threatened to launch a missile strike against the International Criminal Court in The Hague, which had earlier issued an arrest warrant for Russian dictator Vladimir Putin in connection with the deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia. Quote from Medvedev: "Gentlemen, everyone walks under God and missiles. It is quite possible to imagine the targeted use of hypersonic Oniks from the North Sea by a Russian ship at the Hague court building. Unfortunately, it cannot be shot down. And the court is just a poor international organization, not the population of a NATO country. That's why they won't start a war. They are afraid, and no one will feel sorry for them. So, judges of the court, look carefully at the sky." Medvedev went on to write several paragraphs of insults to the ICC, which, according to the Russian official, no one needs, and whose effectiveness is allegedly zero. According to Putin's subordinate, a country and its leaders can be judged in two cases: when the country itself has become savagely weakened, almost lost its sovereignty and decided to recognize the judgment of the court, and when the country has lost the war and surrendered. Medvedev believes that after the arrest warrant for Putin, the consequences for international law will be terrible, as this decision allegedly leads to the collapse of the foundations, the principles of law. All member states of the International Criminal Court are now legally bound to detain Vladimir Putin and hand him over to the court. President Volodymyr Zelensky has called the International Criminal Court's issuance of an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin a turning point.
This post received a score of 17,000, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Because nothing says, "I am innocent," like bombarding the court with hypersonic missiles.
That's like an arsonist setting the court on fire in an attempt to pawn his innocence.
You gotta pawn your innocence somehow.
Your Honor, I demand trial by blowjob. Sax starts playing. Edit. Keep going, there is poetry down the line.
Judge lifts his robe. Putin drops to his knees. Screen fades to black.
With gusto.
Very good, Mr. Putin. Now, convince the jury to.
And, believe me, they're a hung jury all right?
Even Mrs. Winfield? Especially Mrs. Winfield.
She had him pegged as guilty.
Help Ukraine, missile strike. Indictment for war crimes, missile strike. Can't get it up, missile strike. Deliveroo 10 minutes late, missile strike. Called out on your bullshit, oh you better believe that's a missile strike.
We have the best international community. Because missile strike.
Food cooked improperly, missile strike. Overcooked, undercooked, missile strike every time.
We have a special missile strike for international courts.
Convicted of war crimes, believe it or not, also missile strike.
Accuse us of missile strike? Missile strike, right away.
Anytime this man opens his hate hole, the subtitles should just read, lies in Russian.
One of these days he will Gaddafi him for his empty threats.
Just to be a bit rude, but who will Gaddafi who?
Who will Gaddafi whom?
Missile strike. Edit. Thanks for the award, kind stranger.
Oh God, the excessive missile strikes in this thread are killing me with laughter and probably also exploding missiles.
Laughing? You know what this means.
Missile strike?
It's Christmas at Ground Zero.
Medvedev's limp threats has the same fear factor as being flogged with a warm lettuce.
Hey, you keep Teresa out of this. Edit. Meant Liz got my PMs mixed up, but I leave it for giggles.
You mean Liz?
Oh yeah, my bad. So many prime ministers that it's easy to get them mixed up, winking face.
Sure. Start WW3 because of a court order. All of them have gotten so crazy. Medvedev and Lauro were relatively normal 10 to 15 years ago. Now they sound completely insane, Kim Jong-un style. It's probably a tactic. But insane nonetheless.
They used someone irrelevant to make a threat. When you follow up on it, they can just be like, lol, he isn't the president and has no authority. But they're entirely fine propagating out the rhetoric. Just an empty threat. RU leadership knows that event would be the end of their existence.
Last time Lavrov threatened nuclear repercussions, Russia got rattled when even China and India went hard against Russia on it. They have since only used lower-level officials to pump toothless rhetoric. They know this is a bluff. Just posturing.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.